Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of the Grounded Masculine podcast with me, your host, Finn McKenna Fox. So today I want to talk into Instagram post that I put up at the start of the week that has just blown up and is speaking into six of the red flags that we have normalized in guys, especially fathers in today's world. Because I think this is one of the big things. It's so common that we see guys just in this drifting mode through life. I talk to so many dads, not just within the work that I do, but like in my local area, we're just talking to guys that just normalize just feeling like crap and feeling just average throughout our days and throughout our life because of the season of life that we're in fatherhood. But it doesn't have to be that way. So that is why I do what I do. That's why I've created the Grounded Father community. That's why I do this work with guys through the Grounded Man mentorship, is to be able to break through them limiting beliefs that we have and go to the next level with who we can be so we can show up with the best possible version of ourselves for ourselves and for our family. So in saying that, let's dive into some of these red flags and just see what that takes or see what that brings up for you. Because as you go through this, you might get triggered by some of it. You might feel some harsh truths in it. But with each of the flags that I speak into, I'm going to give you a kind of little teaching point or some point of awareness that you can focus on to help you work on that. Little caveat here as well is like if you feel that you relate to two or more of these flags, I'm sorry to say, but you probably have a bit of work that you need to do. And this is going to help you to actually see that. And let's help you actually to give you some steps that's going to move into that next level for yourself. Okay, so first one's first is stepping into the disconnection from self. It's that whole idea of emotional avoidance. So as guys, this is so fucking big. This is such a big core one for men is having that whole idea of emotional avoidance, of actually being vulnerable with how we are actually feeling. It's so commonly said. It's just bet interest. I even still catch myself saying it automatically myself when someone asks me, "Oh, how's things?" It's like, "Yeah, I'm good." When things aren't fucking good. But as soon as I catch that, I can just take a pause and go like, "Oh, actually, this might be like if it's in the right situation and the right person, I might be able to divulge a little bit more." But as guys, as men, like we're so conditioned into just wearing this mask of we have our shit together and everything's going okay, everything's good, and things are in the right fucking order. But deep down underneath it all, when we take that mask off, it's like we're really fucking hurting, we're really lonely, we're really overwhelmed, we're really confused, and everything else in between. I know for myself that was one of the biggest things that was going on for me in my early part of my fatherhood journey. That was one of the biggest red flags for myself to actually admit was like, I'm actually not doing fucking okay. And instead of wearing the mask and instead of telling everybody that I'm fucking okay, especially my wife and people closest to me, it's like, I need to put my hand up and ask for help and support. So again, this can be so deeply rooted in so many men. And as you're listening to this, I want you to be honest with yourself. It's like, are you actually avoiding how you're actually feeling? To just put a mask on, to just keep in cruise control, and just live this mediocre life. Because it doesn't have to be that way. At the end of the day, it's like there's no strength in it's no strength in saying you're okay when you're not. Like it's you're disconnecting from the reality of what's actually going on for yourself. Whereas if a man's able to feel himself and able to be honest with himself, that is going to bring so much more depth to who you are. That's going to bring so much more depth and presence and connection with your partner and with your kids. Whereas if you're just glazed over, if you're wearing this mask, if you know that things aren't okay, but you're not doing anything about it, you're not admitting it, even though you're not fucking admitting it, it is emanating from your fucking energy. So your partner's going to feel it, your kids are going to feel it. That's going to show up as disconnection. That's going to show up as you avoiding fucking stuff that's going on. Even if you don't say it and admit it, others will feel it. So, what can you do if you relate to this disconnection from self, this emotional avoidance? First step is starting to do a bit of work on that emotional awareness. This is where journaling is such an important fucking tool with the work that I do for and as well for my own self. It's like it's having a practice of journaling is teaching you how to self-reflect, of teaching you how to actually check in with yourself and see what's actually going on. You don't have to wear a mask. You're not proving anything to the world out there. You're just you and your journal. This is your private fucking sanctuary of just allowing yourself and teaching yourself and training yourself even to be fucking open and honest with what's actually going on. in your journal, you can start actually naming the different feelings that's going on. You can start expressing like what is actually going on underneath the surface with that. Because again, it's like if this is really foreign for yourself, it's going to be really hard to actually articulate that to other people because you haven't even articulated it to yourself probably. Whereas if you build a relationship with yourself and an understanding with yourself with this through journaling, that's going to then allow you, it's going to give you more of an outline, more of an understanding of what's actually going on to then be able to articulate that with people closest to you or people if putting your hand up and asking for that help and support, you can actually help and articulate it more and more. So like that is the first thing. If you're finding that disconnection from self, I would recommend start doing a journaling practice. Oh, excuse me, I thought I turned that off. I'd recommend, highly recommend doing a journaling practice to help you to start communicating more openly and honestly with yourself. So, next one is going looking at defensiveness instead of ownership. So, like this is a big one. Like I would have talked about this quite a bit previously. Having it's not in the vocab that I've been using as much lately, but it's looking at that whole idea of living a cause or living an effect. It's like when we're living a cause, that's when we're taking full responsibility of everything that's happening to us and for us within our life. Whereas when we're living an effect, that's where we're not taking any ownership and we're pointing the finger, we're pointing the blame game on other people and other things and other situations. So we want to be able to live a cause. That's where we want to be taking radical ownership of what's going on in your life. And that's going to allow you to actually start making some changes where, again, unfortunately, a lot of guys are in that defensiveness instead of ownership, where we we feel like when we get feedback from other people, or if the missus is saying something to us, or somebody's saying something to us, or calling us out on our bullshit, that's really hard. We take that as a big threat and we push back. We try to over explain ourselves, or we deflect it, or we try to flip it back on other people rather than actually seeing it like, oh, I actually fucked up there. Because admitting that you might have fucked up in a situation, or admitting that you're not showing up with integrity, that you're not showing up how you want to show up, that can be really hard to admit. And it's going to be a bit of a dent to a lot of guys' egos. Whereas if you're able to actually take that ownership of what's going on within your life, it is fucking massive. Like just this week, myself and Shona had a big conversation around all of this because for ourselves personally, we're in this big, massive fucking transition where Shona has started back work part-time. Like it's the first time she's worked in this sort of capacity in over 10 years since she became a mother. So she's back working like 3 mornings and 1 full day a week while I'm working full time and while we're still juggling looking after Koo, our youngest, while the other three are at school. So there's a lot of different changes and things happening within our family dynamics. There's lots of changes in our roles and responsibilities of both myself and Shona, where we have to be getting things really dialed in to support everyone in a better way. And within all of this, it's like she had these really high expectations that I just would get fucking everything. Whereas for myself, I was struggling with some of the things because I had been so used to working and doing certain things in a certain way for the last 10 years. It has taken a couple of weeks to figure out how all of this actually works. And whenever she hit me with some of her truths and some of her things that was going on for me, it's like my initial recoil was that defensiveness, was that, fuck, I'm not actually avoiding this because she's called me out in her shit. But when I actually sat with it and when we actually held each other in that, I was able to take a couple of deep breaths and actually articulate what was going on for me and articulate why I was feeling how I was feeling and why I was acting the way I was acting with that and being able to have a really fucking happy conversation. And after that conversation, like we come up with a really solid game plan to help move ourselves forward because I put my hand up and says like, yeah, I've fucked up in a couple of areas. I've fucked up and I haven't been communicating how I should have communicated. But she's admitted and seen some of her things that have been unrealistic expectations as well. So we were both of us were able to take that ownership of our own stuff while holding the other person accountable as well. And that's where there's so much depth in a relationship when both of you are able to be on the same path with that. So again, it's like if you feel that you fall into that idea of like you're the defensive instead of taking ownership of yourself, some of the things that you can start doing is looking at where you are actually taking ownership of things within your life. Again, this could look at a reflection practice of journaling, or it could be looking at having a conversation with your missus, with your partner every week. And it's like, and having a bit of a share. It's like, what's going on for you? It's like, is there something that you felt like you were challenged with? Is there something that you felt like you didn't take responsibility of? And being able to start working on that and start shining a light on some of them things for yourself. And then by being able to reflect on that, by being able to focus on that more and more for yourself, that's where things are going to start shifting and changing. That's where you're going to start living a cause. That's where you're going to start taking more ownership and responsibility of the things that are happening for you and within your dynamic, family dynamic. And that's when things will really start changing. But again, it just takes them slow, small steps. It's like, what does your role look like? What does that actually look like for you? And can you follow through on that? And if you don't follow through, can you actually admit it and take ownership of it that you have fucked up rather than playing the blame game? Good. So the next one rolls into pretty consistent with that second one. But like the third big red flag is avoiding growth and hard conversations. Again, this is one of the things that I can see so often with men is we avoid challenge, we avoid hard conversations, we avoid doing the hard work. And it brings me back to that whole idea of it's it's something that's going to be hard now. It's like if you choose hard now, it's going to be easier in the future. Whereas a lot of us choose easy now, which will be which would mean it'll be hard in the future. So to put that into context with that is, it's like if you're not willing to do the hard work and the growth now, you're going to repeat the same patterns for a long fucking time, which is going to be hard. So you choose the easy path now of not changing because it's hard. You choosing the easy path, you're going to keep repeating the same fucking patterns and cycles over and over and over again. And the more you do that, the harder that gets, the longer that goes, the longer them patterns, and the more ripple effect that that is going to have in the people around you. Whereas if you choose the hard now, which is stepping into doing the growth, is hard, is confrontational, is fucking, yeah, it's really tricky. But when you step into that now, that's going to allow you to shift and change who you are, which is then going to create more of this harmony down the track. You're going to be able to have a deeper relationship with yourself and with the people closest to you down the track. And that's going to mean more easefulness down the track because you have the tools and the resources within you to deal with that in the future. Because you chose hard now rather than the easy now. So again, when we look at that, it's like so many guys, like we avoid having hard conversations. We avoid doing the difficult thing because life's just fucking hard already. Life's just stressful already. It's like, why do I want to put something else on my plate? Whereas the matter of fact is, like, if you don't change now, it's like you're gonna have to do it sooner or later. If you know there's things going on within your life that aren't right, if you don't deal with them now, you know that you're gonna have to deal with them at some fucking stage. And when you think back on your life so far, it's like you can see where that has played out. If you're not dealing with shit, you're gonna have to deal with it sooner or later. We just keep pushing it away. So it's choosing is like, am I ready to actually step into this now? There's never a fucking right time for this work. Trust me. Don't think it's like, oh, once I get this renovation over, or once I get the kids are a bit more settled in school, or once this thing happens, then I can do X, Y, or Z, is the fucking biggest bullshit story you can ever tell yourself because there's never going to be the right time to do it. You need to just jump in now and make it happen and make it work for yourself and figure out the rest later. So again, it's looking at that avoidance within yourself, looking at like, why are you actually wanting to stay in these old patterns? Why are you pushing things down and making these excuses? Whereas when we actually start looking at the changes that are required, when we start leaning into that discomfort, that's when real leadership comes into play. That's where change starts coming into play. Like as I said, my slogan is nothing changes until you change. It's like nothing's going to change in your life until you fucking do something about that. And the biggest thing that I see time and time again with this is guys who are just on that roller coaster of avoidance and change. Something happens in your relationship, things are really fucking tough. It's like, oh, I might start listening to some podcasts, or I might check out this course, or I might reach out to this coach and ask a few questions because things are really fucking hard right now. But then that hardness kind of like levels off and then backs off a little bit. But it's not gone completely. You didn't do anything massive to change it. It just like the pressure valve just decompresses a little bit. So he was like, oh, things are okay now. 6 months later down the track, same thing pops up again. It's like, oh, I should probably do something about this. And then he was like, oh, maybe not. I'll let it. Now is not the right time. And then it passes and then you ease off. And fucking years later, you're still having the same problems. You're still having the same issues in yourself, in your relationship, with your kid dynamic, whatever. They're still happening. because you haven't actually done anything about it. You've just put it to the side and pushed through it into discomfort until it became a little bit easier. Like I've got a couple of guys who are in my inbox probably every 6 months saying, "Oh, my relationship's nearly broke up." And I was like, "What do you want to do about it?" And then they talk themselves out of it. Things are okay now. We've had a conversation. She sees that I'm actually starting to make some changes. I've started doing a bit of a routine and things are feeling a little bit better. And lo and behold, a couple of months later, that all falls to the wayside yet again because they actually never done enough stuff into it. They weren't willing to have the hard conversations or they avoided doing the real work. And 6 months later, get another message. Oh, things have gone bad again. And that pattern has happened over and over and again for some guys for like probably 4 or 5 years since I've known them. And again, nothing's going to actually change in that relationship until they're ready to fucking step into the fire and do the work. So it's a hard one, but I know for myself, I know from my own journey, is like there's been so many times where I've stepped into containers, be it with personal growth, personal development, be it in business mentorship and different things. I've had so many coaches, supports, counsel, different things happen and helping and supporting me in different capacities over the last probably 15 years or so. And there's so like probably 90% of the time I could have had every excuse under the sun as to why was not the right time to start that. But I know it's like I need to fucking do this now. And I've always been so fucking grateful for doing that because it has helped me. It has pushed me to that next level within myself when I have reached out and had that support. Whereas it could have been so easy to just let the excuses play out, let the different stories play out and just pull back and just try to trickle through for another year or two until finally you do something about it. So again, that's a big one with that avoidance pattern and avoiding hard conversations. So the fourth red flag to look at is a lack of integrity. It's like this is if you are a man where your words do not meet your actions. And guaranteed, if you have a lack of integrity, you have a self-belief issue. It's like if your words are not meeting your actions, you have a narrative around that you're not good enough, that you're not worthy, that yeah, you just fucking play so many of these patterns and your self-sabotage is probably really fucking loud for yourself. You go through periods of struggle where that self-doubt and that self-sabotage is really big. Your consistency and discipline isn't there. And you're just like, oh, I need to just focus on the discipline. I need to just push, 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 push. But that is short-lived because you're not actually looking at the big picture of things. Whereas when we look at that, how strip back to our understanding of ourselves better and understand why we do what we do, why we act the way we act, why we react to things in the way we react, what's going on within our nervous system, that's when we can actually start understanding what's going on a little bit deeper underneath this integrity piece and how our words are not meeting up with our actions. So allow that one to sink in for a moment. It's not about you don't need more discipline. You need more honesty with what's going on within yourself. You need to strip back the layers and get fucking really real with yourself. You'll see there's a very common pattern with a lot of these things. It is about getting real. It is about living a cause. It is about taking responsibility. It is about that honest self-reflection and really figuring out and understanding who you are within your truth and what's actually going on and have the right support around you that's got to shine that light on your shit. That's got to call you out on the things that you are avoiding. Because again, it's like we go through life like this because that is comfortable, whereas having people around us that tells us what's outside of our blinkers and shines the light on that, that's where we're going to be able to start creating that more change. So again, when we look at that, the lack of integrity, when our words don't meet our actions, this doesn't even just have to be the big things. This can just be the small little lies, the small little inconsistencies within ourselves. And again, it's like so many guys, they really fucking mean well. They want to do the things. They want to be able to follow through with the things that they say. They want to be able to meet them promises that they say. But when you don't do that, when your words aren't aligning with your actions, this isn't just affecting you. This actually really affects the people around you. This affects your partner. This affects your kid, where that safety and that trust becomes eroded. Because if your partner is sick and tired of you not following through with things, they're gonna like their nervous system isn't gonna feel really safe and secure within you. So then that is gonna start eroding away at other aspects of your relationship. And again, the same thing actually goes for yourself. It's like when you're not following through with integrity, is like you subconsciously will not believe in yourself. And that's why I said is like there's such a big correlation between lack of integrity and that self-belief piece. So one of the things that you need to start doing with this, if you feel that this is something big for yourself, is instead of trying to fucking throw the kitchen sink at it all and trying to do absolutely everything with this fucking ridiculous big morning routine and this and this and this and this, it's just pick one to two small things and just start building trust. Start having follow through with one to two small things and follow through with them religiously. The biggest thing with consistency, the biggest thing with integrity is focusing on progress rather than perfection. It's not trying to get 100%. It's life happens, but if you miss a day or something happens or if something pulls up, it's like instead of missing a day and it's like, oh fuck, what's the point? It's like, all right, let's go back and straight back onto it tomorrow. Some days you'll be able to give 100%. Other days you'll be able to give 50%. But as long as you're giving 50%, you're still giving something, you're still doing something towards that. Because again, we cannot sustain 100%, 100% of the time because we're just gonna fucking burn out and life is too full for that as well. So again, it's like when you pick one to two small things to focus on and do them really well, that builds consistency. The consistency starts building trust. The trust starts building that self-belief, and that is integrity within yourself. And again, as you start doing this for yourself, just because you're starting to do it for yourself and you're starting to feel it in yourself, the people around you might not see that straight away because they're just waiting for that old version of you to come back in. So don't think that I'm doing this for 30 days, but why is my missus not praising me for it? And it's like if you have been doing this for fucking 30, for 20 years of not having integrity, it might take a little bit for their nervous system to catch up and to feel safe again. But you need to be doing this for yourself and doing this ongoing for yourself, and they will catch up with it over time because as they see more of that trust and self-belief in you, then that's going to settle their nervous system down. They're going to start feeling within themselves as well. Sound good? So next one we're going to step into is looking at poor stress and nervous system regulation. So again, red flags in guys, especially in dads, is like if you are not aware of your stressors and triggers and your nervous system is fucking completely out of whack, you're going to really struggle with so many things. And more than likely, if that is you and you relate to that, you probably have a lot of crutches that you escape to, be it you are a workaholic where you just dive in and focus on the work side of things, or you are using social media as a way to numb out, or you're relying on porn or alcohol or drugs or distractions. You're looking at things to distract yourself and to give you quick dopamine hits to feel better to try to balance out this nervous system dysregulation and this high load of stress. Because again, if you're a busy father, you have a lot of fucking stress on your plate. You're probably living a stressful life. If you've got young kids, especially, there's a lot of fucking chaos. Older kids, that just brings us to a whole other level of it. But no matter what, like if you have a kid or multiple kids, there's going to be a lot of moving pieces going on for yourself. And then throw work on top of that, throw finances on top of that, throw relationships on top of that, throw family on top of that, and throw the environment and the world fucking around us on top of that. There's a lot of stress bombarded on your system day in, day out. And if you are not aware of that, and if you are not utilizing the healthy habits and tools to help see that, recognize that, feel that, and regulate yourself in that, you're going to really struggle with showing up as a grounded present father or a loving, connected partner. And the big thing is, it's not just a matter of like, you need to do more deep fucking breath work, you need to do more ice baths. It's not about just doing that surface level stuff. It's actually you need to start understanding yourself better, figuring out why things are triggers for yourself, and having a plethora, having like a medicine pouch set up for yourself that's going to help you in different situations depending on your different triggers and everything. If that's something you need to delve into more, is like just send me a message and I'll send you a old podcast that I've done a few years ago. Dive straight into what your medicine pouch is and how you can start building that out. But it's like having a number of different tools, different situations and scenarios is going to help and support you to regulate your nervous system and understand your stress a lot better. Because as you start doing that, that is going to allow you to show up more grounded. That's going to allow you to show up more present. That's going to allow you to have more patience and be able to build more connection with those that matter most. So again, it's like that teaching that regulation is like creating that medicine pouch for yourself to check in, to be real and honest with yourself, to balance things out a lot more. Whereas if you just keep pushing through and pushing through and pushing through, numbing out, avoiding, fucking disassociating, you're going to struggle. And the people around you are going to be affected with it as well. So then the last one that we want to look in at is looking at the avoidance leadership or just having like a real passive energy. This is where it is, nah, just everything will be grand. It'll work out. It's all good. Should be all right. It's having that real passive, that kind of low energy is like, yeah, it should be okay. Let's just cruise through this. When we put this through the masculine feminine lens, it's sitting more in that feminine flow rather than the masculine leadership. And again, it's like if you're just constantly fall back into that easy going, it's like you're actually avoiding decision making, you're avoiding taking direction, you're avoiding taking responsibility, you're avoiding stepping into that leadership role for your family and for yourself. Whereas they're all really healthy masculine traits. It's got to help hold and support and create safety within in yourself and within your household. Whereas if you just always fall back into that easy going, that's where you're actually falling back more into that feminine energy, which then is going to put off the whole energy dynamics in the whole household. Because the truth is like if you're the easygoing one with all of that stuff in a relationship, your partner's going to be forced to step into that masculine and take responsibility and take direction and make the decisions. And then that's going to cause resentment for her with you as well. And that's going to just throw off its own set of chaos as well. So again, it's like that passive energy, that avoiding leadership is of actually avoiding stepping into a healthy masculine energy within yourself. And that's going to have a big role on effects and everything. So again, the big thing to focus on is that is you is looking at it's not again we don't have to fucking go complete 180 with it, but it's looking as like right, where can I actually start making some decisions? Where can I actually start planning things out a little bit more? Where can I actually start looking at some of the things that I would normally just kind of like let it fly by? Actually, it's like right, actually just put a bit of a plan in place to move the needle forward in this. Or can we put some systems in place that's going to help the family dynamic work a bit better? It's like let's have a family meeting every Sunday night. Let's have a meal plan so we are organized a bit more. So that takes a bit of that decision fatigue out of your partner as well. Again, it's looking at clear, calm, present, taking action and decision for yourself, and that's going to really help shift into that more healthy dynamic within yourself and within the family. So again, covered a lot of different points in each of them. But again, if you can relate to two or more of them six big red flags, as I say, I would be focusing on which is the one in particular that you feel like you want to focus on and work on it at the most at the start. Again, we don't have to do absolutely everything all at once because if you do go again going back into that integrity piece, if you try to do absolutely everything all at once and change everything all at once, it is doing too much of an overhaul from where you are to where you want to be. So it's not going to be sustainable. It's probably going to be really hard to try to make that fit in with your life. And you're probably going to set yourself up for failure. Whereas I'll be look at the six of these things. What's the one area that I want to really focus on? And let's focus that hard on that for the next 30 days. And as that gets dialed in, you will see automatically that you will start showing up a bit better than the other ones. And that'll just all start having a bit more of a ripple effect. But then after that 30 days, like let's hold that one and look at another one if there's another one that you need to focus on as well and just slowly start building that up. And this is where you can start moving things forward over that steady, consistent progress. And this is one of the things that the guys who work with me inside the Grounded Father community, inside the 30-day reset, inside the Grounded Man mentorship are always blown away by. It's like 3-4 months into us working together, they're just like, I never knew it was as easy to make the change that I want to change. Because it is just a matter of doing the small things and doing them really well and doing them consistent. And as you start doing that, as you start making these changes, you just start getting so much more trust, more confidence, more belief in yourself, and everything else just starts rippling out from there. And that is fucking huge, and that's what it's all about. So, in saying that, if you feel that you need support in this, this is an opportunity to put your hand up. As this podcast goes out on the 9th of March, there's going to be my next 30-day reset is going to be kicking off. So we'll be working with three guys for 30 days in a one-on-one container, as well as in the Grounded Father community. They get access to me for them 30 days to go a deep dive at a fucking fraction of the cost. So if you want real fucking change to happen in those 30 days, just put your name down for that spot. They will be going quick. do this every month or so. So like I only take three people on every month or so to make sure I can give that undivided focus, attention, and support to them with that. So again, don't put things off, don't push things to the wayside, don't avoid growth if you know that this is something that you need to work on. If you have any other questions or anything like that, feel free to send me a message on Instagram. And if you feel that this is something that would be really beneficial to a partner or to a friend, feel free to send that to them as well. The more people that can get this stuff into their ears, the more people that can follow this message, the more healthy, grounded, masculine fucking leaders and fathers that we're going to have, which that is what we want to focus on. When we can have really present, grounded fathers, they're going to be changing the whole fucking dynamic of family relationships, of our kids and how they're growing up and how they're being shown respect and how they're learning and understanding. And that is what it is about. So again, remember guys, nothing changes until you change. And if you're ready to change, send me a message and let's get to work.